agus a cháde bhhail an fíorchaoin fáilte choróid tróna ag an ócáid íontach eíontar seo. Níl mé ó cinnte go dtír a céhhéad taspántas I bhean leis a bhar seo. How many would we pour?
Oh, don't mention it. It's too much.
Ach téimmuid siar agus siar agus siar. Agus tá sé de hir a gahrú an tamar fad. Íontar cuile taspántas ní léon cosarút idir ré agus an cheanna chuair rithe. Agus dúireach mar sin atá sé inniu freisin. Agus tá an tá aon chomá chun an taspántas seo oscailt an bailliúcháin oscailt go bhfuil fearr. Ní sam céim gailge atá Renaissance man. Ach, anyway, dating chur I would call this man Aodh Ó Coileáin a Renaissance man. A man who's been involved in many different forms of the art, be it music, theatre, drama, film, literature, many, a great many. And he has already given us a couple of very important major artworks. Fish na Fisoige, which is a beautiful, beautiful documentary about Irish language poets writing about the land. And, of course, his movie on, his film documentary on Irish or Galway artists. Kind of artists in the left field, not doing what's expected of them, but representing Galway nevertheless. So it's a real, genuine pleasure to have, even though he's from Kerry, to have Aodh Ó Coileáin here to open this exhibition.
Some 16 years ago, in the rainy August of 2008, I went to see a version of Brian Friel's translations Under the Sky at Muckra's House in Killarney's National Park. Dennis Conway and his company, Ouroboros, were following in the footsteps of Anu McMaster, the great travelling theatre actor manager, and touring Brian Friel to outdoor venues throughout Ireland. As the light retreated behind those glorious Kerry Mountains, Tom Kenny, and the stars began to peep, a family member whispered to me, "How come you got dressed up tonight?" I was wearing a good jacket that I bought in O'Malley's of Dominic Street on arrival in Galway in September 1986. "I got dressed up for one of our great artists," I said. "It's worth dressing up for Brian Friel." I made the effort again this evening. Cur siadha gáir agus gáir go naoí. In theatre, we sometimes meet people who aren't happy until they're unhappy. Switch on the heat in the dressing rooms. Switch off the heat in the dressing rooms. This coffee is too strong. This coffee is too weak. Pádraic Reaney possesses none of these insecurities. He just quietly works and makes his art. As Vermeer in the 17th century, like a duck to water, took to his brilliant blue colours, Connemara's Pádraic Reaney has made his own of heroic green. Grounded in his native place, Reaney's work has that beyond the horizon feel to it. There is a length and breadth and width to it, often like a frame from a film made in long shot. He uses the primary colours to good effect. He applies an architecture all of his own to each frame. Look around you here. See the Reaney line. Try and figure out where he places it, and most importantly, why. Pádraic starred in a documentary film I made a few years ago, mentioned by Tom, and called Cummer, a Galway Rhapsody. In the film, he quoted a French artist. Sé George Brock a dúirt, sé an rud is táchtaí sa pictiúr, an rud nach bhfuil tú anán a bhí nua. I believe that it is this mystique or dríocht which endows Reaney's work with these timeless qualities. Look at the acrylics on board of Inishark over at this wall over here. The old school, represented as if it has hemorrhaged all its pupils. Filming with us in Inishmore in the Aran Islands, Pádraic described his strong sense of place. In Áran le Pádraic Reaney tá an tuignas atá ag buint leis is rud a hanín lum san obair. Bhín ag rá a gcónaí go raibh sé fíor uaignach ach sin é an rud atá ag buint leis an alainn, caithe tú é dhéanamh leat féin. Is má lumsa áitina mar sin nach bhfuil éon duine thart ach mé héin. Tá díntin an áit é héin is dóthaí agus an dríocht atá ag buint leis. Is rud mór é sin faoi áran, tá dríocht éigent ag buint leis. In certain traditions, it is maintained that the oyster catcher, a common seabird, knows where to find the pearls. In another scene in the film, shot in Áran, Pádraic was walking the shoreline when a flock of oyster catchers rose from the breaking wave beneath his feet. The camera followed the flight into the grey sky. One bird eventually broke from the group and forged his own way. This was Pádraic Reaney, the first painter born and reared to come out of Connemara. He explained, "Sna seascadí siar Connemara nu an Gararua an áit tógach me, ní a mór an allintóirí, ní rud é mar a deirfá a raibh éon duine eile ag déanamh a rugach san áit. Ag an am céine nuair a héin arás an Gararua, casach daoine a raibh aithne ortha agus déiridís cén chuí a bhfuil an alainn ag dul. Agus déireach mise, tá sé go mag go leor, chuineá leis, déiridís, bhfuil tú ag obair in éon áit inis. Ní rud é go raibh siad á eicáil mar obair nó obair cheart, agus chomise lán aimseach leis ina dhé sin. The artist not altogether at home in Connemara, nor in the city, Reaney created his own reality between worlds. Brought up to speak Irish, English was the language when he moved to Galway City. Writer Hugo Hamilton, in referring to his own experiences, puts it aptly. We sleep in German and we dream in Irish. We laugh in Irish and we cry in German. We are silent in German and we speak in English. We are the speckled people. Drink deep here tonight, my friends. Reaney keeps inventing himself. The plant studies over here, the lilies, a new venture for Pádraic. The analysis of the goat skull, which reminds me of the West Kerry that I grew up in, where people who turned their backs on Dusseldorf and Rotterdam and Cologne and industrialized Europe settled amongst us. Their motif was the goat skull, often left on a post outside their dwelling place. Now, of course, we know that these people were ahead of their time. We call them hippies. They merely chose an existence which was kinder to the earth and to the environment. Reaney is light years ahead of himself. Examine his unique bronze pieces. Interesting to examine piece number 13, Kesa, over here, which is a study for one of his sculptures. Finally, this evening, when one gets to steal this stage from Tom Kenny, if only for a little while, one should not allow the occasion pass without making a whisper. Good to see on last week's City Tribune that progress is expected in creating a gallery space behind the Eglinton Post Office in town. Given the weather in Galway, an indoor space where people could view, imbibe and dream art is like clean water and Wi-Fi, a necessity. As part of this initiative, it would be marvellous to see a permanent exhibition of the great artists who have lived here, interpreted the landscape through their own sensibilities and made art in this hallowed place. Pádraic Reaney, J. Murphy, Charles Lamb, Rita Waugh, Paul Henry, Dorothy Cross, Walter Verling, Brian Burke, Sabina Springer, John Behan, Gertrude Degenhardt, Sean Keating's work in the Aran Islands. The list goes on and on and on. Visiting exhibitions from all over the world could come and sit beside these pieces for a while. Is there a role for the National Gallery of Ireland here? A little thinking outside the box, perhaps. The Irish Film Board did locate to Galway in 1994. This city is the capital of the West. Right now, the city councillors are at our doorsteps. We should be speaking out or up, or whatever you're having yourself. The MEPs are on their way. Oh Lord, can the Taithí Dála be far behind? Now is the time, my friends. Keep talking. Dere fad trónóna, an gníomh is táchtaí. Fógrim don sail mór, ó Coileáin na Carún Rui, go Port Vela dún in Áran, agus go dromba bheog I Moy Cullen, agus an seo sa Lispán trónóna. Fógrim go bhfuil to spántas, Pádraic Reaney, oscailte go hifigiú.
He's singing my song. I want to be in this little gallery here too. We have fought battles for long. Anyway, he mentioned Carrow, he mentioned Charles Lamb, and he mentioned Walter Verling. Walter Verling was very highly influenced by Charles Lamb, so much so that he bought a cottage in Carrow. And one day, when he was out walking, he saw this site in front of him, and he knew he had to paint this. But something always happened. It got dark, it started to rain, people came to the house. For whatever reason, he couldn't do it. So one night, going to bed, he said, tomorrow, I am going there. I am going to paint that scene. And he did. He drove there, he went over the wall, he set up his easel, he had everything all set up, and he was kind of wondering exactly how he would start when he realized there was somebody behind him. An old man, local man, leaning on the wall, and and he was obviously there for a chat. So Walter was trying to be short so that he could get a painting. And your man said to him, do you mind me asking, what are you doing there? Oh, I'm going to paint this scene in front of me. Ever since I saw it, I felt the need. I just had to do it. But something always got in the way. I just wasn't able. I have to do it. Harry, you don't really, says your man. Do you see, Mr. Charles Lamb has it painted already. Well, one thing we can say about this artist from Carrow is that he has never painted anything like that was painted in Carrow before. It's his own style, his very highly individual style, and what I admire most about him is he has always been true to himself. So it's a genuine pleasure to have Pádraic and his work with us here again, and I want to thank you for those beautiful words. You caught the spirit of the whole show perfectly. Thank you. How can I get you that?